In this episode, we will explore how the Parsis adopted Gujarat as their homeland and allowed the fire of Zoroastrianism to flourish once again in their adopted homeland, India. The Parsis reached the mainland of India at Sanjan around 936 AD. This landing site was commemorated by the Sanjan Stamp. In this section, the exhibition explores the influence of Parsis in the making of Gujarat as we see it today. At Udwara in 1742, the sacred fire of the Zoroastrian faith was commemorated. Since the Parsis lost their Persian king, they henceforth regarded the sacred fire as their ruler, and hence the name the Iran Shah.
The Meherji Rana Library is very special to Parzor. We showcase for the first time the Akbar Sanad and all the letters from the court of Akbar and Jahangir to the Meherji Rana family. The way in which a refugee community had to keep in certain ways under the radar as they grew more and more prosperous.
Navsari soon became the Dharamni Tekri or pinnacle of religion, where the priesthood and laity were equally successful in carrying out a new life. The exhibition walks its visitors through the streets of Navsari. It's here that the small traditional pickle shops and the watchmaker's craft began the growth of the Parsi wealth.
We also showcased lifestyles in Navsari. Be it a Tata house or be it any other person's house, these houses of Navsari are interesting to note in the context of a refugee community. Navsari is one of the oldest settlements of the Parsis, and what you will see is that there was always a need to keep modest and to not show yourself as a very wealthy community or as very different from other communities. That is why these are typical houses, very, very narrow from the outside, and yet when you go up a steep staircase, they may have a drawing room as big as this with portraits, with carved furniture, with all of it. But there was always a need to keep modest, to keep quiet about what you were doing, a very important factor in the way in which Parsis adapted to their new homeland.
A major contribution to the city of Surat was that of a Parsi, Adeshir Kotwal. Adeshir, a Parsi officer, made the city of Surat safe from Pindaris and dacoits. Sardar Maharaj, the founder of the Swami Narayan sect, rewarded Adeshir with his own feta or headgear to honor his effort. This feta, believed to have magical powers, is still venerated by all communities.
So we have to remember that the Zoroastrians in India were a refugee culture. They adapted, they mingled, and that is what our Gujarat section showed. It showed things from the first biscuits made in India at the Dotiwala bakery in Surat to the first coins minted by the Aunty family during the 1790 famine in Surat. It showed us the beautiful, magnificent.
The exhibition showcased the magnificent portraits of Navroji Hall in Ahmedabad. Sir Navroji commissioned the famous Ravi Verma to paint the portraits of his wife and brother, while he commissioned his own grandson, Jahangir Ji Lal Kaka, to paint his own portrait. The next section covers the migration of the Parsis from Gujarat to the new port of Bombay. where the growth of the city accompanied the dramatic growth of the Parsi fortunes. This section showcased the famous Parsi personalities who contributed to the making of Bombay, from the statue of Lady Sakarbai Petit, who founded the first animal hospital of India, to Monikji Kustanji Shroff, who created trade and commercial enterprise, to the statue of Sir Dinshaw Petit and Sir Jamshedji Jijuboy, who were both great philanthropists. Parsis contributed to the development of the nationalism, trade unions, and the growth of Bombay as a political center for new ideas in emerging India. With economic success, the Parsis kept their religious roots alive. They adapted to modern circumstances by establishing schools for priests which replaced the traditional joint family trainings. The students of these madrasas learned prayers in Avastan, Pahlavi, Parzat and Old Gujarati, while also pursuing their secular schooling. The exhibition showcased the treasured photo albums collected from the Parsi homes. These vases, showcasing the cultural amalgamation of the best of East and West, were found in China during the trading expeditions made by the Parsis. This Sanad of 1924 was presented to Khan Sahib by the King Emperor of India, George V, to honor his contribution in the construction of the Gateway of India. This Sanad is also a testament of the Parsis' contribution to the building of Bombay. The Deccan story is another remarkable tale of enterprise. This section showcased Parsi embroidered garas which display influence from Persia, China, India and Europe.
The Deccan is a very interesting way in which Persian lifestyle, Turkish lifestyle, the Deccani culture and the Parsi ethos all mingle together at the court and in the creation of today the states of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and the rest of that area. So we saw the opulence of the lifestyle as well as the hard work it took in the tracks of Jalna and Berar to create this lifestyle. We had some very exquisite embroidery from the Deccan, and this was again something done by a Parsi because the Nizam requested her to. Amy Dhanjisha Mistry created a portrait of the Nizam as well as of course a portrait of Zarathustra which we had displayed in single thread embroidery. These are remarkable pieces of work, and she trained women in the Deccan to create their own earnings and work with their hands, and she trained them in embroidery. The story of the Nizam's portrait is rather interesting. With great joy she presented this portrait to the Nizam, and he told her to take it away because his moustaches should be a little longer. Being a good Parsi woman, she just took the portrait back and never gave it to him again, saying how dare he criticize my work, which is why we can display it over here. This is a gentleman's cupboard. Parsis were well known for their woodwork, and as you can see over here, it is made by Pestanji Palanji Bambot of Bombay. A gentleman was supposed to fit all that he had into this, and you see his travelling kit inside it. A woman of course could have as big a cupboard as she wanted. Deccani acculturation can be seen here in the use of the khasdan, in the use of the ittar, things which were not common in other Parsi settlements. This beautiful gold and silver embroidery has been done by Amy Dhanjisha Mistry. She was asked by the Nizam to educate and help train women to make a livelihood, and she began a school for embroidery. The Chinese trade led to great wealth and the need to move into other areas, and the Parsis moved down south into Birar, Adilabad, all those regions, Jalna, to start growing cotton for the new mills in Bombay. It became a place of great wealth, and it became a place where Parsis were very important at the Nizam's court. So what you will see over here is the Nawab Shapur Jung and Nawab Sorab Jung. You see this family tree in Urdu, and you see another type of acculturation where Suna Mirza shows us this silver pandan and explains to us that in my mother's days a woman's pandan was like her purse. Again, these are things which you will not see in any other part of the country.
In the early 19th century, the Parsi contribution to Indian theatre was immense. Parsi theatre used laughter and satire as an instruments of social change. Besides other social evils, these plays also attacked child marriage and encouraged the education of girls, thereby providing laughter and learning. Musical instruments from Iran were replaced by the Indian Dilruba and pedal harmonium, which were showcased in the exhibition. The final section was devoted to showcasing Parsis as the builders of modern India, showcasing their contribution to industrial development, the freedom movement, and the beginning of institutions of modern science.
A very important final section was modern India and the building of modern India, particularly the sections on the Tatas, Jamshedji Tata, where we had a great deal of help from Pune, from the central archives of the Tatas at Pune, and of course from TIFR, Mumbai. Lady Meherbai Tata died of leukemia at a very young age. Here she is seen wearing the Jubilee diamond, the second largest diamond in the world. She willed that this diamond and all her jewelry be sold to create a cancer hospital, and it is this jewelry which created the Tata Memorial Hospital, today Asia's largest cancer hospital.
A picture of the Tata house where in 1939 J.N. Tata was born to a priestly family in a tiny room finds a prominent place in this section. It's here where the seeds of the Tata Empire were sowed.
TIFR may be a place of physics and research, but it also houses some of the most valuable collection of Indian art there are anywhere in the world. And this is all because of one remarkable Renaissance man, Homi Bhabha. Homi Bhabha's sketches, his baby Jhabla, his grandmother's note to him, his gold watch which was given to him, and his beautiful painting, the abstract, was all part of this exhibition. And I think it was a very good conclusion because it brought together the best of modern India in one single case. Of course, we honored India's first Field Marshal, Sam Manekshaw. The aim of Threads of Continuity is to show that Parsis stand at a crossroads. We had two large photographs of Sunitara Porwala, the one iconic man in a solar topi looking backwards and showing us a world that has passed. We had the other iconic photograph from her recent collection, On the Oval, of a young girl with multicolored hair leaping confidently forward into the future. This is the question which we want to leave everybody with. Do we want to be remembered as people who allowed ourselves to die out, or do we want to leap confidently with all the riches of our heritage, with all the riches of our history and our philosophy, with all our environmental consciousness? Is that what we want to give to the world and continue to contribute?